Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Elden Ring walkthrough. We got a lot to get done today. I feel like probably going to say that every episode until the end at this point, but it's true. First things first, I wanted to... Can I upgrade my weapon? I can. Nice. Twice. 3 times. 4... Jeez. Okay. It's been a while, apparently. And then... Throw on sword dance. Quick math. Looks like Keen is our best bet right now. Okay. Probably level up as well. Gonna keep pushing that to 40 and then we'll work on something else for a bit. And alright, let's get started. So, back in Liurnia, warp to Scenic Isle here where Patches is. Patches. Said that weird. And then we're gonna run west-ish. And we're aiming for this gazebo here, so it's gonna drop a beacon and make it easier to see. We get lots of quest stuff done today. That's why the beacon's nice. I definitely would have second guessed where I was going at some point in that maze. Alright, grab the Grace. And then over by this tree here, we're gonna be in poison. It's pretty obvious when the water stops and the poison starts, but if you're on torrent, you don't get poisoned, so be on torrent. And then after you grab that, we can just run south, southwest, mostly south. Grab the mushroom. And keep going until you get to the shore. And then keep going still so you don't get assaulted by the crab that just popped out of the ground. So this area we don't really have a map in because it's under, we're like in a giant cave, so all you can see is the area above the cave, which this that you can see on the map is not the village of the Albinarics. This village is underneath, so. But it's not a very big area, so you won't get lost. Talk to Nepheli.
Put under the justice to let the scar. Put under the justice to let the scars I cut.
Alright. And then I grab this. These guys are pretty slow, so I'm just gonna ignore them. Grab the mushrooms, and then there's a Grace over here so we can reset them. Always gotta grab the mushrooms because if you try to craft a throwing pot later and see that you are just missing mushrooms, you're going to lose your mind because they are everywhere in the world and also nowhere when you need them. Make sure you kill this guy because we're going to talk to an NPC in a second who does not have a whole lot of health, so if he gets hit probably even once, he's going to die. These are perfumers though. They're kinda... I don't know. They're a little annoying to fight because they're all that sparkly stuff in the air that makes it hard to see, and then they just backstep through it and run away. Alright, but this is the NPC, so roll into him, do not hit him.
Dear me. I haven't a clue.
And it takes a little while to get through this conversation, so there's no way you can run over here and get done with this before the perfumer bothers you.
My beggar, you must keep. And if you should
Get the Haligtree secret medallion right. And he tells us to take it to someone named Latenna. And then he he dies. Got the ivory sickle there. And then now that we have that right half of the Hallowed Tree medallion, the next time you go back to Round Table Hold, you are going to get invaded. So just be prepared for that. Alright. And that was just a flask replenishing scarab, so all good that he got away. Alright, so up ahead, this is Omen Killer. So mini boss thing, you can see him there. I can't lock on from here. There's gonna be a dog behind the tree that we can't see, and there's two more down here. There's one, and the other one's like, I don't know, he's down there somewhere. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop off this cliff and kill two of the dogs before we engage the boss, so that we don't get swarmed by 3 dogs while we're fighting him. And we're also gonna go ahead and grab Nefeli here. We don't have to summon her, but why not, you know? Boss is pretty straightforward, so I don't feel like your experience is gonna change all that much whether you summon or not, but grab a rune arc there. One dog. 2 dogs. Seems to have spotted me. And I like to lure him over here just because there's a lot more stuff in the way over where he's sitting. And the fire in the middle too. He has kind of a lot of poise, so I'd be careful about trying to trade hits with him. But with Nefeli, he goes down pretty fast. And he should drop Talisman, the Crucible Knot Talisman. Take out that last dog there. Can't remember what that does off the top of my head. What am I looking for? Here we go. Reduces damage and impact of headshots. That's right. It's worthless. Okay, so now that we got that, and you grab the rune arc down below. Going to backtrack towards the Grace. And you can rest if you want. I'm doing just fine. Just like 2 or 3 more enemies up ahead. This is the only one you really have to deal with. It's going to be an item around the corner on this tree. Narc blood clots. And down here. Oh, there is another caster. Crystal sword. Alright, so now if you're low on healing, I would probably rest before you go back to Round Table Hold. I don't know if it replenishes your flasks or not, since you're being invaded. Who knows? I assume if you die, it would just teleport you back to where we just were. Don't think I've died here before, but it's gonna come running out of that left door. He's got bone weapon, or fist weapons rather, so he basically just punches you, has very little range. It's pretty fast attacks, but you know, if you can back away at all, you're pretty much good. And then he has like one grab attack that's really obvious because his hand will glow red and he'll grab you and do a bunch of damage. But you get the fist weapons he's using, the clinging bone. And then if you run over to where Ensho was standing before, you get his armor. And you can talk to Gideon. A little dialogue about that. And then you can talk to him also about the medallions. Good to go. Alright, and then we can run over to where the blacksmith is.
you, please. It's
Talk to
pathetic, I know.
Nefeli.
Please. It's pathetic.
She doesn't have much to say, and then we can go back to Gideon again.
Well,
And choose Nefeli's Despair.
indeed. So I had, honestly. Determined, I suspect a dose.
And back to Nefeli again.
You, please. It's pathetic, I know, but...
I heard
So
from
you know
Gideon.
already, do you? Right, for indulge father, I would have done, and yet I betrayed him. And I think he'd... Where is the just... He once told me he would never, as he simply... No, how could I say? Father has a now. No, how could I... Father has a now.
Alright. Her dialogue is exhausted, and then we are going to think. In the meantime, we're back to Scenic Isle. So, as I mentioned back in Stormvale Castle when I was talking about Gostock, I think, there's maybe I didn't talk about that. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Nefeli's questline culminates very, very late in the game, so we have plenty of time to finish it up. Also from here, we're just going to run basically straight west. Psych, straight south. And we need to go back to a place called the Chapel of Anticipation, which is where we fought the first boss in the game that like killed us, and then we get teleported over to the like tutorial cave. And in that area, we can also get the blood of a maiden for Vare's quest that we were talking about last time. So what I'm going to do personally is just hold off on continuing Nefeli's quest until we've made it to Altus Plateau and killed the invader that progresses Vare's quest, because then he's going to ask us to go retrieve the blood of a maiden. So we'll just knock out two birds with one stone there, because we're just really not in any rush to continue Nefeli's quest, because if we do it right now, it's just going to be put back on hold again until we get much further in the game. So that is the plan. Anyway, did I grab the grace? I forgot. Yes. These guys have a nasty grab attack if they hit you. I should probably put on a light source. Come up here to the left. That guy. Keep climbing. Some hefty beast bones. I have no idea where you came from. Then there's a guy like hiding in the bushes over here, and as we approach that cave, a bigger one is going to pop out, so... Alright, well, my jump attack didn't work at all. Alright, cool. This is honestly not the Ashavor that I had in my mind, so I'm probably going to take it back off in a bit. I don't know. It's fun. Maybe I'll leave it on. So we had a big one there, obviously. There's one hiding in the bushes here, and there's also going to be one behind those boxes, so... Let's get this one, and then try to bait this one out. There we go. Otherwise, he's going to do that grab attack I mentioned. Inflict some blood loss. Once they're all dead, crack open the chest. Get the spear talisman. That one... Damn, my game is off today. I never really use these talismans, to be fair. Oh, enhances counterattacks unique to thrusting weapons. Okay, so I don't know if I've talked about this yet, but thrusting weapons, which is anything that deals pierce damage. So like, you wouldn't think of my katana as a thrusting weapon, but it does have a thrust attack that does pierce damage. So even that attack would count for that talisman. So there is a mechanic in this game called counterattacking, which is not the same as a guard counter. Remember, the guard counter is when you block and then you hear that little like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a magic twinkling sound, and then you do a heavy attack and you get a counterattack that way. Or a guard counter, not a counterattack. A counterattack is where you hit an enemy while they're in the middle of an attack animation with a thrusting attack. So that is something that is going to happen most often if you're using a thrusting, or I guess, a weapon that's more known as a thrusting weapon. So like a rapier, a spear, things like that. Like the spear talisman we picked up, obviously. Kind of implies it works well for spears. So things that basically revolve around forward pokes like this. And actually I have dexterity, so I can probably hold any of the weapons I'm talking about. Rajer's rapier. Perfect. So if an enemy's attacking and I have a thrusting weapon, any of these attacks I land on it while it's in the middle of that attack animation are going to do 30% more piercing damage, which is quite a bit. And you can see that you can attack pretty fast with especially these rapier type weapons. So that can add up pretty fast, especially if you're on a boss that has very long attacks, that you can get several of these off in the middle of their animation. You know, you could easily see if you had like, if you're fighting a big giant or something while it's like winding up a swing, doing this like 3-4 times, and each one of those is going to do 30% more damage. Then you combine that with the spear talisman and it's going to increase that damage by 15% more. So it's pretty solid. And the other cool thing about thrusting weapons is you can do those pokes from behind the shield. If you keep your shield raised, you can simultaneously block and attack. It's going to eat a ton of stamina in an actual fight, but that is something that you can do. So don't sleep on that. That is my fist. Just want to clarify though, those counterattacks only work for thrust attacks. You can't do that with anything else to get extra damage. Alright, so we should be able to drop down, I guess all the way. No, not all the way, I'm blind. Halfway for the cotton. Again, for the rest of the stuff. Thought I could jump over that, I really did. I love these snails because they're all like not a threat at all on their own, but they're all placed in these like triangular shapes so that they're like really good at working together. But anyway, in here we're gonna have a Bloodhound Knight boss. Can't see him. Drops off the ceiling over there. I don't know. There's a Steak America nearby. So this might put you back at the beginning of the cave if you die, so my expert recommendation, advice, is to not die here. But we fought Bloodhound Knight Darwheel earlier in Limgrave. We don't have Blythe to help us now, but same kind of thing. Very acrobatic, builds up bleed. You need to take a step back, let that bleed meter reduce a bit. You definitely should. I'm trying so hard to land my weapon art right now instead of just attacking him. He has a lot of poise too. It's kind of... You really gotta look for openings here unless you have a really big weapon that you can actually stagger him with. So I mean, he's not even flinching when I hit him with a jump attack or something. There he did a little bit. But the good news is he doesn't have a lot of health, so... You don't have to outlast him for too long. That attack's just too slow. I can't get it off. I'm determined. I'm going to do it. There we go. Just gotta wait for him to do his jumping attack. It's the best time to counterattack basically any enemy in the game, honestly. Big damage, big stance damage, but it leaves you wide open for a counterattack. Alright, so out here, this is Liurnia. The Albinart guy told us to come find, and Gideon also knows she's here, which is terrifying, but show the secret medallion when she asks about it. Or when you have the opportunity to do so, rather. And then hear her request.
Farewell, I will go, forgive me.
And then she is going to become a spirit ash that we can summon.
Call upon me when needed, and I will fight at your side.
And you can hear her voice there now that she's a spirit ash. And she will actually talk to us a couple more times in the game, which is kind of cool. Not very often, and it's far enough into the game from this point that it's really easy to forget that that's who's talking. But I will point it out when we get to that point, hopefully. And she is a really, really cool summon. So there are a couple of unique things about her. She is like paralyzed from the waist down, so she wasn't just sitting there to mourn this wolf. She can't actually walk, so when you summon her, she will also be sitting down. And she uses a bow to fight. And what's cool about her is that the bow has an insane amount of range on it. So for any like open world kind of field boss, you can summon her and put her really far away from the boss, to the point that there's like a very, very minimal chance the boss will ever actually hit her, because if the boss does decide that they want to go run over and attack her, they have to travel so much ground. And in the meantime, hopefully you can hit the boss hard enough that they switch their attention back to you. You could even use like the Shabriru's Woe Talisman if you really wanted to lean into that playstyle, which makes the enemies more likely to attack you. And if you didn't take that as your starting gift, we're actually going to get it here in this episode in just a second, actually. But that's one cool thing about her. She basically just keeps sniping and chipping away at the enemy from so far away that she never has to really stop attacking, because she's not being pressured and the enemy is not likely to attack her. The other really cool thing about her that unfortunately there are very few opportunities to actually utilize is if you find a dire wolf in the game. Not the regular wolves that we have found all over the place that like to run around in packs. You know, they usually like die in a couple of hits, but the big ones that look like this wolf, these are dire wolves. They, if you summon her near them, she will actually call one over and like tame it, and she can ride it around. So now she has that same, you know, long range playstyle with the bow, but she is also mobile. She can reposition however she wants to. It's really cool. So I'll show that off when we have an opportunity for that as well. But now we can warp to Bellum Church, which is going to be way up here somewhere. Right there. And Hayata should be here.
Oh, have you ever heard there? I would
to the distant light. I can't sense please. Without one. There, please. Without one.
She's sniffing out the special grapes now. Grab all those golden centipedes, and then what we're gonna do here is just kind of run straight over to that giant structure up ahead. And yeah, these are the regular wolves I'm talking about. Not these ones. It's not big enough to ride. But we're gonna steer clear of this camp in the middle. There's a bunch of enemies there that we don't want to upset. Grab a rune arc here. Make kind of an awkward jump to get up here. Steal that, why not? Who's gonna stop me? So this is the Grand Lift of Dectus, and you can see those ruins over there to the left. That is that other sort of hidden path that Raya was telling us about, the other way to get to Altus Plateau in the last episode, I believe. But even though we could go over there and do that right now, and we do have the key now to use this lift, it's just gonna take us to the next region, and we basically just started Liurnia, so there's just kind of no reason to do that. And I am typically an advocate of not moving on to new regions unless you're pretty much all the way done with the region before, if you're trying to do quest lines, because progressing to new areas like that sometimes progresses quest lines. So it's usually safer not to run too far ahead. But I do like to grab that grace there since we're here. It's kind of on the way to where we're going. That way we can just come back easily later when we do need to go up that lift. Now the way this area up ahead works is in a second that tower on the hill is going to spawn in the Eye of Sauron on top of it. It's going to start building up the madness status effect on us. Looks something like that. You should have just enough time if you're on torrent to grab all three of these items, and then you just want to break line of sight with it so it stops building up that status effect. And we're just going to wait for that to go back down. Be careful popping your head up here. If it has line of sight on you, you're just going to keep getting that status effect build up every time it flares up. It does take kind of a while to go back down, unfortunately. But what we're going to do... Actually, you know what? There's a smarter way to do this. So, I'm pretty confident in my ability to run in there and not die to the madness. But, just to be safe... this is the more intelligent way to approach the situation. So I'm going to wait for the eye to go away. Now we're going to make a run over here. And there is a grace, so we have a much closer spawn point if this does go wrong. Otherwise we have to run from that elevator, which is not that far away, but this is better. So basically just going to run back to where we were just standing. Oh, it can see me. Unfortunate. Well, obviously what I meant to do there was demonstrate what happens when you get inflicted by the madness status effect. That was completely intentional. And it's gone, I guess, so we can move. So there's going to be a bunch of rats in the bottom of the tower. I like to run in here, get their attention, and then run out here so that they follow us out here. And then run back in, and that way we can climb up this ladder without them jumping on us. And obviously they are rats and cannot climb the ladder, so you're relatively safe at this point. Now upstairs, or up the ladder rather, there's a few just like normal kind of peasant enemies you can kind of see through the floorboards. The way that we want to handle this is time our climb so that we get up there as soon as the eye fades away, and then killing all of them is going to make the eye despawn. So as quick as you can, take them out, and the eye will go away. If you gotta drop back down the ladder to let your madness reset, that's totally fine as well. I think there's a chest I missed. Yes. Get the Howl of Shabriri incantation. Then we can deal with these rats. Alright, and we are in the clear. Might as well rest, I suppose. And then we can head inside here to the Frenzied Flame Village. Have this note here, the Lord of Frenzied Flame, and if I read that real quick, beneath Lanedell at the very bottom lies our Lord, Lord of the Frenzied, the three fingers who hold us in thrall. So that's sort of giving you a little hint at that Frenzied Flame ending, or Frenzied Flame questline I was mentioning with Hayata a couple episodes ago. Very much intertwined. Also, if you're paying attention to her dialogue when we just found her at Bellum Church, she said something about how she felt like she'd go mad if she didn't get this grape. It's kind of funny, because this whole madness-inducing area. Frenzied Cookbook 1 there. Just take your time with these guys, don't get overwhelmed, don't get hit with all the madness spam. On the staircase here is the Shabriri's Woe Talisman as promised. Make sure you grab all these red plants, eyes of yellow. I assume that's how you pronounce that, but who knows. These are one of those like slightly rarer plants that don't respawn, so you might as well grab them. They're used to make madness curing consumables. Alright, and then it's like completely unnecessary, but I always like to make this weird jump up on this wall here. Stone Sword Key. There's an item down there, it's just 3 more eyes of yellow, I want to say. So you can either just not get them, or do what I'm doing and come back for them later, because if you drop down there, then you have to run all the way back around to the entrance we came through, so that is no fun. If you're having trouble with that jump I just made for whatever reason, just ignore it, because you can just drop down from above when we come back to get that item also. Oh no. Don't you dare despawn. I will admit, I could have probably played this a little better. Alright, get the Frenzied Burst incantation from that Teardrop Scarab. I'm gonna hightail it out of here. That's another thing you could just wait on if you're low on healing. That got sketchy. And then, you know, why stop the sketchy plays now? Let's just hit it with one more. Gonna get invaded up here. Kicked off of Torrent. You can cheese this guy if you want to, if you're just having trouble killing him. by jumping up here. But this is also a little scary because you have a very high chance of falling off here as well. I'm absolutely failing at this right now. Right, and then you want to press forward on the left stick a little bit when you jump up here, but not too much because you'll go over the other side. Oh no. Alright, so you might need to like throw something at him. Make him dodge. Come on, buddy, I know you want to fall off. Alright, dude. I don't know. Mileage will, or it may vary. I don't want to say will vary with that strat. I promise it does work. I tried it like last week and it was fine. But I'm just gonna fight him straight up because it's not worth getting kicked off the cliff again. That's more of a last-ditch effort if you just can't seem to beat him normally. I hope I don't have to climb again for my runes. I'm significantly more worried about... Oh, nice. They're all the way at the top. I'm significantly more worried about falling off just trying to climb up there than I actually am him killing me the way he just did. Also might have not worked because I took so long to get up here. Come on. A little more to the left. There you go. No. Alright. I'm not dying again. Stop that. Don't stand there when he does that. Or do. He will drop his spear after we kill him, and it's a pretty fun weapon. Its weapon art is the that big jumping fire attack he just did a couple times. Down he goes. Get the fingerprint grape and Vike's war spear. You know what? There's probably nothing stopping you from running in here and activating this grace. You won't be able to rest at it, but I think you can activate it still if there's an invader. Am I crazy? No. Well, yeah, but yeah, try that. Try that instead. That way you can just respawn right there. Then you can probably try the like cliff trick again more safely, maybe? I don't know. Maybe it won't let you do that. But let me actually rest again because we just picked up a sacred tier. Can reinforce our flasks. And then I guess really the only thing left to do here is to go get the item by the rats, and there's a few golden runes down here in the forest as well. Find a safe place to drop down. That should probably work. Grab that teardrop scarab too, if you didn't already. Okay. And then get back up to the high ground a little bit. And right over here you can jump onto that rampart we were at earlier. Grab the stone sword key if you missed it, and then drop down and get the rats. Alright, cool. Done with that place. I hate it here. Warp to Frenzied Flame Village outskirts again. And over here to the east a bit. We're gonna ignore this tower here. This one does actually require a gesture to get into. If you remember one of the last episodes, I told you we needed a gesture from Dops' questline to get into a tower, except that one had a broken wall that you could just climb up to circumvent the puzzle, if you will. I like to ignore this guy, just abuse the iframes on the door. And you can abuse the iframes on activating this grace if he does follow you in here. Sometimes he doesn't, but at this point, you could kill him, or you could just let him kill you and respawn at this grace since you grabbed it, but we got away without having to fight him, obviously. Alright, so this area is a little... Skeletons are a little beefy here, I'm not gonna lie. But nothing we can't handle, because most of them we don't actually have to fight properly like that one. You'll notice this skeleton here, as he gets up, he has this white flame on him. Same with this one. So there's like a necromancer mechanic in this area. Kill the guy that's with the white torch, and then the other skeletons will die. So once they're dead, you can backtrack, pop a stone sword key into here. Get Roz's axe. I was saying that wrong. It's new. Alright, this axe is pretty cool actually. I want to shout out its Ash of War skill. Summons raise the axe aloft to summon those lost in death. 3 skeletons will appear at a distance and attack in tandem before vanishing. So you can't do like a proper necromancer build in Elden Ring. There's no like school of magic for that, but you can get close with items like that. You know, combine that with the skeleton militiaman ashes or something like that, and you can get a nice amount of skeletons on the screen at any given time if you really wanted to. So that's a fun one to play around with. Alright, so come over here to either the second or the third guillotine, and after it goes down, stand here and ride it up. It's a little tricky because the skeletons are going to bother you. And jump up here, kill this guy. It's going to despawn that skeleton and the 2 down here as well, so free to move around. Get the Grave Glovewort 4, and then these guys are also being controlled by a necromancer, so run past them and then stay wide of this corner so that guy doesn't pop out and attack you. Kill him, and all 3 of the skeletons will die. Like I said, a little trickier as far as the difficulty goes, this dungeon, but if you know where you're going, you can run past most of the enemies and insta-kill them like that. 2 more skeletons in this room. And there we go. So we're gonna fall down here in a second, but not quite. Grab the Grave Glovewort 3. this is an illusory wall, so something I don't know if I mentioned with Margit's Shackle in one of the first episodes. I did show you guys how you can use it to activate and deactivate those like flame throwing pillars, but it actually also interacts with the illusory wall. So if I run like all the way back here, could realistically probably go even further if I wanted to, but activates Margit's Shackle. And you will see that it's knocked down the illusory wall. So the range on that thing is pretty insane. Grave Glovewort 4, and then you can get these summon sign here. I'm going to recommend taking this because the boss in here, it's one of the Black Knife Assassins, which we have fought before, but the one we fought was much earlier in the game, so it was weaker, both health and damage wise, but it also spawned at half health on top of that, so it was much weaker than what they normally are. It's the same kind of fight here. It just has a bunch of like crazy acrobatic fast spinning moves with its dagger. You don't want to let it get behind you because you can get grabbed and backstabbed. And then the thing that I think this one has unique with it that the last one I don't believe had is it's gonna have this I don't know, just call it like death magic, but it's like a red and black sort of fire that you'll see on its weapon, and it if it hits you with that, it's going to like reduce your max health a little bit, so you don't want to get hit with that. But D will help a lot with being able to keep it locked down, take its attention off of you, and hopefully get some staggers. So you can see that's not a ton of damage we are dealing to that, especially considering how often it's going to jump away and just dodge our attacks. There's that backstab I was talking about. We got hit with it immediately. There's the grab. Should get a stagger soon. There we go. Oh, he ruined it. And down it goes. So you get the Assassin's Cerulean Dagger and the Black Knife print. Gonna not return the entrance right now because we have some more business to attend to in this catacomb. But that Cerulean Dagger, whatever it was called, it's the same thing I have on that I've been using. This is the Crimson one, so instead of crits restoring your HP, crits will restore your FP. So that's nice if you're using more FP than I am on this character. But now we can drop down to deal with this guy. Maybe I don't. Guess I do. The reason I do that first is because of that lovely mechanic I demonstrated in the first catacomb, where once you activate this lever that unlocks the door, bring up dialogue box. It will not go away unless you hit another button. So it'd be real sad if you just walked into a skeleton and let it kill you because you were defenseless. Alright, now we're just going to sprint through here, grab all the loot because a couple of crabs are going to pop up and I don't want to deal with them. Wants to deal with me though. This might just be the end. Alright, dude. Every other time I think I've played through this area, he's chased me over to the second one. He never stands there. I guess I ran through too fast. So, make sure he follows you over to that other room and away from the ladder, I guess, on your world. Grab the Grave Glovewort 3, and we're back to where the guillotines were. So at this point, we're just gonna backtrack until we get to the boss fight, and you're more than welcome to rest at the Grace if you need to. You could also craft a couple holy water pots for this fight. The boss is so squishy. If you hit him with basically anything, it's going to die in only a couple of hits, but I feel like, I don't know, this might straight up one-shot it, honestly. Let's see what happens if I can actually hit it. Oh, it's too short. Oh, what? Did nothing. What happened? Oh, that hit a skeleton. It's so weird. The other one hit a skeleton too? Not that button. Heal. Oh, it's over. My life is over. My life is over. Literally, if I just hit him once, like, he will die. This is ridiculous. All the skeletons will die too. Not having fun anymore. Look at that. Look at that damage. Good riddance. Get the death root from the chest. Got something too. Is it the twin sage sword? Hold on. I think it was that I just picked up. I was not paying attention. Anyways, we're done here. And then we can warp back to Round Table Hold. Speak to Roger and give him the black knife print.
I can scarcely recall they say the group, the knives, please. I'd love nothing though. Traces of half my body.
Alright, then we can rest. And that will progress him to the next step, so you can talk to him again.
My examination.
Gives you it back.
Demigod. Hers was truly. But if
and he tells us to go find Ronnie. So, if you recall, last time we were close to Carrier Manor up in northwest Limgrave, or Liurnia, sorry. I mentioned not to go there, not to finish the area at least, until you progress Rajer's questline a little further, because if you meet her too early, it will lock you out of finishing his questline. But at this point, we are good to travel there, since he has told us to go find her. But
would you like?
now that that's out of the way, let her hold you.
You ask.
And talk to her about Roger.
He must be at Anchor's. You to Deron.
Sacrificial twig. And then make sure to pop the blessing to clear that debuff. And finally, worth mentioning, if you talk to Roderica here, we just picked up our first Grave Glovewort 4. So if you have something that you would like to spend that on, once you get any of your ashes up to +4, you'll unlock new dialogue with Roderica. She ascends into a proper spirit tuner, and you get the curtsy gesture. And you should be able to talk to Hugh about that as well.
To lay out your arms. Look at that effort. That is good to see. An imprisoned at a time. Afghans.
And that's that. I think, time is it? Did that in under an hour. Hell yeah, thought that would be longer. So that's all for this episode. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.